What can he do?
Just fucking start laughing.
Dude, he looked at me funny.
So he smoked some weed too on the way here, apparently.
I was thinking that.
So we could be as funny as we want. We can say this is our fucking podcast. We can say whatever the fuck we want. It doesn't matter. If we have to, we might have to put it on Parler if we say it. But
Is
it's
there
just
supposed to be like a storyline to this, or
well, basically, we're just going to talk about. Well, I guess we should probably talk about all the stuff we're talking about. Like, how long you been there?
4 years.
4 years.
I think 2 now.
2, 18 or 19. Yeah, we'll start out with Jason starting out as a little fucking punk. I'll tell the story about him getting in a fight with Jim. And I like, you know what I mean? People like funny stories.
Right.
But we're also going to talk shit about the dealer guys, Jason. Like, I'll let you tell a couple stories about we hired these fucking dealer guys. Like that last jerk off. We paid him, and he couldn't even put a fucking rear main seal in.
Mm-hmm.
Just that shit. So, I mean, I can carry you guys, but I'm telling you, once you have a couple drinks and you relax a little bit, you're going to be fine. You'll forget.
Where's your drink?
Right here.
You don't want to show it on camera?
I'm sweating right now.
No, his fucking church group is going to watch and be like, are you kidding me? Heathen over there with your fucking Antichrist friends. You need Bible class, bitch.
He's gonna have to go to confession.
Yeah, he's going to be like,
beers.
he's like this. You're like, hey, Dick, you're on camera.
What's in this sippy cup, pussy?
Showing up with his McDonald's cup.
I'm surprised he doesn't have one of them old dual sleeves. Everybody's alcoholics here except for me.
Yeah.
All right. So Kevin from Repair Shop Racketing here. I got Jake over here. Raise your hand, Jake, so everybody knows who you are. We got Nick.
Hi, I'm Nick.
Yeah, we got Jason next to me here. Jason, the VP of Garrett Auto and Truck, is a long-term standing employee. He's second behind me as far as years. How many years have you been with us?
I've been with Garrett Auto and Truck 19 years.
19 years. He's now a vice president and part owner, and he's going to take over when I get out of here as soon as fucking possible. So I just want to do this podcast because a lot of people kind of don't believe what I say online, how our culture is, how we all get along. And if there's somebody's an asshole, we get rid of them and stuff like that. So I figured we'd have all you guys on today, talk about how we do things at our shop, culture-wise and stuff like that, how we don't put up with shit, how we sell people what they need. We don't sell extras. We sell them what they need. We offer them maintenance and everything. We kind of go by the 300% rule. We write 100% of what's needed. We estimate 100% what's needed, the estimator does, and we let the customer make the decisions because we do a lot of fleet work. So 9 times out of 10, they'll pretty much do everything because it costs them money when their vehicle's broken down, right? So I kind of want to go through all that type of stuff. And, people are talking about, oh, you've had guys that are training to be mechanics for 4 and 5 years. Well, yes, I have, because we do everything. Okay. You could probably be an auto mechanic, a pretty decent auto mechanic, if you're working on all makes and models for 4 years in your own little field. Like, for instance, you get a front end guy. Oh, I'm a front end guy, or a brake specialist. Okay. But we do everything. So you guys learn how to do everything. So from trailers, we do trucks, we do vans, we do, flatbeds, we do everything. We do hydraulic stuff. We do a lot of stuff. So when they say, yeah, I can't believe you're training a guy for 4 or 5 years. Well, I'm still getting training every day because shit's different all the time. We work on a vast variety of stuff, right? So that's kind of why I want to go over everything with that type of stuff too. So let's just go over our background. So Jake, you came 4 years ago. I hired you for that diesel shop we were going to buy, right? So let's start that story.
So you came down to my house one day and you just asked me if I wanted to work for you. I was like, yeah, sure, why not? And then we went to the diesel shop, and then I came to Motor City Truck Collision, and I started to learn body work, but I was not very good at it.
Pull your mic closer.
And then after there, you brought me out to Garrett's. I've been there ever since.
Aim your mic at your face. There you go. There you go.
And I've been at Garrett's since March of 22.
Yeah, you worked here at the truck collision shop, and you hated collision work.
Yeah, no, it's not for me.
Yeah, it's not for everybody.
No,
I mean, it's not for me either. I own a fucking collision shop. It's just horrible. So, all right, Nick, let's hear your story.
I moved in next door to you, bought the house, and I was working at Roush at the time, and I remember you coming over, and I could just get this vibe that you were looking for another guy, and I was your guy. And I'm like, well, I don't want to work for my neighbor. You know how things could go down like that. And, you know, I kind of got fed up with Roush and they weren't treating me too good. And I remember you came over one day and you're like, let me take you over to the shop and let me give you an offer. You know, let me show you what it's all about. And you took me out and I was like, yeah, sign me up, you know? And it was that easy. You're like, when do you want to start? I'm like, when can I start? I'll put my 2 weeks in at Roush. And you're like, yeah, go ahead, give them 2 weeks. If they you can just start as soon as you want. So I've been there since February of 23, I guess.
Right after COVID, right?
Yep.
Yep. And then here's the old boy. Let's talk about the OG.
So I think it was probably in like '04. My mom used to work with Steve Garrett's wife, and I was into cars, trucks, all that kind of stuff. And he said I could come to the shop and help him do a few things around the shop and learn things there and try and get to know me better. So I ended up going down there, helping him do stuff around the shop. And then after high school, I really didn't know what I wanted to do. I was planning to play hockey, and that didn't work out. So I had to come up with a other plan. So I signed up and went to Lincoln College of Technology for diesel and automotive 2-year program. I went there. The day I graduated, I called Steve, and he's like, well, if you come on down to the shop, you can talk to me and Kevin, and we can figure something out. So I went down there, talked to him, and he offered me a job, and I took the job, and I've been there ever since. I think that was 2007 or 8.
Yeah, I like your first day story. So you go ahead and tell the story so I don't fuck it up. But you're like, he said, come on down.
Oh yeah. So he's like, okay, you can start tomorrow. You have a toolbox, right? I'm like, yeah, I got a toolbox, you know. He's like, okay, well, we start at 8, get here when you can, you know, all that. So I show up at 9 o'clock, and of course, here he is outside. You know what time we start? I'm like, yeah, 8 o'clock. He's like, what time is it? I'm like, 9. He's like, so you're late. I'm like, well, I thought you said get here with my tools when I can. He's like, no, I meant you get here at 8 and bring your tools when you can get them here.
Yeah, that was such a great story.
So the first day I started out, I was late.
So I have to freaking tell you, he acts all calm here. He was such a little fucking asshole, mouthy as can be. I told Steve, I said, I don't know if we should hire this kid. He's got such a mouth on him. And he started working and stuff like that. And I didn't quite know what was going on. So I'm like, you know what? You're going to work with Jim. You're going to be his trainee. That lasted about 3 days. They're out there, fuck you, screaming and arguing with everything. I'm like, well, Spencer, it looks like you're on your own. So he started actually working. I'm like, wow, he actually does way better on his own. And that's kind of how you went. And Steve Garrett trained Jim, and I trained Jason. So me and Jason spent a lot of time together back early on in the day. So we ended up actually becoming pretty good friends in the earlier years. I was pretty hard on you.
Yeah.
I mean,
and I'm not going to lie, I came out of school and thought I knew everything, because going to school, you should know everything. Well, when you go to school, you learn on stuff that's been apart 900 times. And everything we see is old, and most of it, and out of warranties, and everything's stuck and doesn't come right apart.
yeah, and you know, you definitely have an absolute gift at, you know, learning and picking up stuff and taking stuff apart all these years. You know, we've got ourselves in some jackpots, so I'm not going to lie. That's what, you know, there's a lot of stories that go on. We'll get into them later here, but a lot of our stories, a lot of our policies at the shop are come from us getting screwed on a Christmas Eve or you know, a New Year's Eve, or, you know, we're going to trick or treat with the kids. My kids are young, and we screw something up and the customer needs it. And so a lot of our policies and a lot of our feelings we've gotten together. We're just like, you know what, we're not doing this, because we hear over and over again. And me and Jason talk a lot now that he's a part owner about where we want to go and how we want to do things. And one of the big things is, I don't want to sound gay here, but quality of life for you guys, because I came from an owner that he thought we should work, what do you say, like
24/7.
24/7, pretty much. Like, you know, they work Saturdays, and he'd want these guys to stay till 9 o'clock at night, you know. And stay 8 or 9 o'clock during the week and get there at 8. And it's just like, you know what? You have no life. And at the end of the day, how much more money do you really make? Because you're dead ass tired, right?
Yeah, and I will say, back to how much money do you make? When he was running the shop, it was more like, if nobody can fix it, we're going to fix it. So we would work on stuff all night and we would fix it, but would we really get paid for it?
Right. That was one of the big problems, you know. And you know, so Jake, you worked at a lot of different places over the years. You did the generator place and all that type of stuff.
Yeah, that was fucking awful.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about the culture there and versus at the shop. And you know what? I'm proud of the culture we built because it took me 35 years to come up with how to do this and make it as least stressful as possible in a stressful environment. You know?
Yeah, so the generators, when I was at the shop, it wasn't that bad because it was just pretty much just small engineering builds. Pretty much everybody needed a carburetor, voltage regulator. It was just simple things, but it was going out on calls, and then it was the middle of winter. It was a huge snowstorm, and I had to drive from Howell all the way out to, I believe it was Bloomfield Hills, and there's like 8 inches of snow on the ground, and they had me driving a Transit Connect, which is not the best thing to drive in the snow. And after that, I was like, I got to find something new, which I would bitch about a lot with you when we come down, or you come down to the house, or I'd go down to you and hang out. And then when you said you want to work for me, I was like, okay, yeah. I went to work the next day. I was like, hey, here's my 2 weeks. And they said, just give me your keys, you're done. But the tempo there, like the guys would get along, but there was 2 other guys, and it just caused a lot of friction because nobody butted heads, nobody communicated. And after being here at the body shop and then going to Garrett's, and then I knew Jason previously with meeting you, and everything just like meshed together. It's like one big family. I mean, I spend most of my time with you guys and my own friends and family, and it's, if you don't get along with somebody, if there's like that one person like Jim,
Right. Yeah,
you kind of just isolate that person. So then it's like, I mean, it's tension.
No, I would agree. And, you know, that was one of the things that I say on my podcast over and over again. It's like, if you're an asshole, we're going to find it out really quick. And if one of you guys don't like that, a person that we hire, it's probably for a pretty good reason, because you guys are all like-minded like me. Pretty much everybody that works in our companies pretty much all thinks alike. Okay, so if one of us don't like you, it's kind of like the chicken in the coop. One's got blood, the rest of them are like, yeah, let's kill that motherfucker. He's got blood on him. And that's kind of how we are. Like, if you're cool, like Jody, he's not here, the new guy.
Yeah.
I mean, he meshed right with us. We could tell we all liked him pretty much. I'm like, Jason came to me, he's like, wow, this is probably one of the better hires besides the golden boy here, Nick, that we had. Wouldn't you agree? I mean, he just meshed. We just kind of knew he meshed. But, you know, that's kind of segs way, you know, into hiring people is almost impossible. I mean, how many people will you seen come and go already? You two. Jason's seen a million, but you two. And they get there and it's like, what a joke. You know?
Yeah, there's been, 3 or 4 people that they don't even come up to either of you two, and they're just like, hey, I'm out. Sorry, not for me. They came to him.
Yeah, the one guy we got, was it
Tyler?
Yeah, he was telling me something like, yeah, man, I don't know if this is gonna work out. Jason's been riding me and blah blah blah. And I'm like, well, did you talk to him? And he's like, no, I don't think this is gonna work out. I'm gonna just pack up my tools. And I'm like, dude, I'm a nobody. You need to tell Jason. You need to talk to Kevin. Like, you need to. I'm just an employee here. You know, I don't have any say. I don't care whether you stay or leave. You know, but you need to tell Jason, you know, or talk to him and figure out what's going on. Why did you mess something up, or you know, what's going on? And he was just like dumbfounded, like, I gotta go.
You want to know the sad part about it? If you put a gun to my head right now and said, "Show me a picture of Tyler," I'd be like, "Fucking shoot now." That's how like we have been over the years, Jason. Like, we had one fucking guy sneak his toolbox out the fucking back door. We were at lunch
during lunchtime.
We were like, came down like, where'd Fred go? Fred snuck his shit out the back door, was gone. We're like, what the fuck is going on? I mean, that's the shit. That's the world we live in, you know? And, you know, the one that got me 1 million views and went viral on Facebook and almost went viral, not really on TikTok, I guess, but was the kid that couldn't do the alignment.
Zach.
I mean, in the job interview, me and Jason point blank asked him, "Yo, can you do an alignment? If we give you that alignment on that rack right there, we'll took him out and show him. Can you do it by yourself? Absolutely. No help at all. Nope. I want to make this amount of money. I'm a seasoned veteran. Okay, here's the money. First alignment. He can't do. He's coming in my office crying. Can you look at this? I don't know why it's. Did you check the air in the tire? Well, no. Did you do this? Well, no. I'm like, my God. And then he flames out and quits. It's just like, are you kidding me? And let's go to your background with Roush. How that culture was. Because I swear to God to you, and I'm not exaggerating, probably 9 out of 10 people that I've interviewed over the years worked where? Roush.
So when I started at Roush, I thought this is Roush. This is the coolest place ever. You know, everybody dreams to work at Roush Performance. It's so cool. Well, I was on the rework side, so we did a lot of stuff for GM, Ford, any of the big three manufacturers. It would be like if they had a big malfunction that they found on the assembly line, they would send it to Roush. I mean, hundreds and hundreds of cars, and they would send them to us. We would fix them, and then they would go back, either go to auction or sell as a new vehicle. I'm not sure how that end works, but they would send it to us. So Roush was billing GM for our hourly man hours. So we were getting paid hourly, and Roush was charging GM per hour of us. Well, so we had to work Monday through Friday, 6 to 6:30, 12-hour days, and then Saturday was typically a mandatory 10-hour day.
Holy shit.
So I worked 70 hours for a good 6 months straight. Then I would get put on a different project, and, you know, you'd work 8 hours here. But everybody at Roush, their mentality was, we want to work a lot. We want to work that overtime. When you get that overtime check, it's like stupid money. But you go home, you sleep, you wake up, you go back to Roush for 12 hours, you go home, you sleep. I mean, like you were talking about quality of life, there's no quality of life there. So I enjoyed it for a lot of the time because I was with a small group of people, and we all kind of were jiving like this group of people here. So we could all hang out and talk, and, you know, everything was cool there, and we got along really good. And, you know, it was fun while it lasted. I'll say that, because it just came down to, I started to value my time more than my money. And I was living at home at the time with my parents, so I was banking all this money and just saving it. And finally my girlfriend at the time, now my wife, was like, you know, we got to start looking for a house and all this stuff, time to grow up. And I'm like, okay. So then we bought a house, and then it came down to, I was driving from Redford to Howell, where we moved to, which was about an hour and 10 minutes every day. I would work on the house, then I would drive back to South Lyon, stay with my parents, and then go back to Roush in the morning. So I would sleep 3-4 hours a night, go work on the house, go work at work, come home, sleep. Like, it was really taking a toll on me. So I finally was like, I got to quit driving out to Howell. And that's when I got with Kevin over there, and he's like, well, it's quite a bit closer. You know, it's only about a 35-minute drive. And I'm like, well, that sounds pretty good. But so I like this environment a lot better because it's smaller, it's low key. At Roush, if you need to actually get something done, it was like, you got to crawl up the chain. You got to tell this guy, who's got to tell this guy, who's got to tell this guy, and then this guy says, well, that's going to affect my bonus, so I'm not going to do that. You know, is there another way to do it? And it's like, you know, let's just fix it. You know, we want to just get the job done. And they're like, well, that's going to cost us a lot of money. We're like, but you're not paying for it. You know, it's not your money, but it's coming out of your bonus. So I guess it is your money.
We went through that over the years with these fleets, and they're one of them. They put the managers in charge of a vehicle maintenance budget. They're like, hey, if you could run your department on X amount of dollars a year, your bonus, your budget is this. If you could save anything you save beyond this, you get a bonus. So what do you think these guys do to the trucks? They don't fix them. I mean, Jason, you could speak on that. We've had fights with them over and over again, these fleets, right?
Yeah, all the time.
Yeah, because they don't want to ever fix the thing, you know? And, you know, it's kind of crazy. But back to you, Nick. I mean, you went to an environment where you were good, but you're like, you're working, you're doing your thing because you're a worker. You're not a flamethrower, but you're a steady worker. You're a good guy, right? And you one of the things you said is like, I'm working my ass off all these hours. These other guys are dicking around.
Yeah, I will say, Roush made me lazy in a sense that, to go back to how Roush gets paid from GM. If I could do an actual job, let's say you got a 2500, we were doing motor swaps in these brand new trucks. Okay, pull the cab, pull the motor, get the new one, put it in, drop the cab down, put it back on. There was probably 6 to 10,000 trucks that needed to get done. So by the time you do 8, 9, 10, you get a routine, you get a system, you figure out how to do it. Well, I could have done one in about 8 to 9 hours. You know, by the time I did a bunch of them, it was pretty easy. So I would knock one out in 8 hours. You know, let's say your quota for the day is you got to get one truck done in a 12-hour stretch. Well, I could do it in 8, and I'd want to go home because I worked my 8 hours, I hit my quota, and they're like, no, we need you to turn 12 hours because that way we can bill GM that 12 hours. So I'm like, well, now I'm just going to slow down because there's no point in me rushing to have it done in 8 hours. And then I sit around for another 4 hours while I'm just doing nothing. And they're like, yeah, you can't leave. So you might as well just take your time and do it right and get it done. And it's like, that was fine. When I used to work, I'm going to say hard and faster when I first started, that's how I was. And then after learning that mentality of why would I rush? Because I have 12 hours to do it. So I might as well just take my time, and, you know, even if I don't get it done well, then there's no repercussion for bad work ethic there, which is what is poor management, I guess I'll say, because I could do this job, and then this guy over here, he couldn't do the job, and there was no difference between me and him. We were probably making the same amount of money. So it kind of steers you off of like, why would I take that extra step? Why would I work harder? Why would I work faster when I'm just going to be the same as I was before? There's no reason to push myself to get something done in a faster time because we're just sitting here and, you know, we're just hanging out. So they never pushed for get this done. And then, you know, when I started with you and talking about flat rate and stuff, and I understand how flat rate works, but it was like, to get a job done, and, you know, you want to rush, get this done so you can get the next one and get this one done. And it was like eye-opening to me. I'm like, I'm not used to working this fast right away, you know, and I do like to take my time so I don't mess things up. You know, I tend, when I do rush, you know, something gets messed up or you overlook something, it's pretty easy. But for the most part, it was just a total 180 of starting to work slow to jumping into something where you were like, you know, we got to get these jobs done out the door. The faster everything gets out, you know, the faster the next job gets in. And, you know, it's just a totally different world. But
Yeah, and I would agree with that. Now let's have Jason talk about dealer techs, because Bill Griffin talked about dealer techs, how we get these guys and they suck. They're good at what they do. Meaning, if you're a dealer tech and you worked at Ford as a front end guy or a brake guy, you're good at Ford front end brakes or front ends and brakes, right? We've hired lots of dealer guys over the years, and they talk to talk. We would interview these guys, Jay. They talk to talk. We ask all the questions. They know what to frickin' say. Then they hit the ground running. And Jason, I'm going to let you take over because I'm going to let you tell a story however you want about whoever you want, because I don't want anybody to think I coach it, because I talk the shit about the dealer guys being little prima donna crybaby bitches. And now I'm going to let another guy say it.
So we've probably hired 5 to 10 dealer guys. They come in, they talk a lot of stuff, say, we can do anything, we can do this, we can do that. I'm a Ford Master Tech, all this kind of stuff. So we're like, okay, you guys can do it. Well, here's a Ford 6.4. Give us 6.4 to do. Next thing we know, we get, I think, 25 hours or so to do a 6.4. 2 days go by, motor's still in the truck. Like, what's going on here? Well, I haven't ever did a 6.4, but, you know, I've worked on, well, you said you did everything. So let's get it done. So day 3 comes around, motor's finally out. Day 4, finally get the motor back in. Day 5, get motor in, get it running. Start checking over the motor, broken wires everywhere, broken connectors, all this kind of stuff. We got a few guys from Dodge dealers that come in, say they can do it all, but the thing with dealer guys is they seem to only be able to do one model. And at our shop, we work on every model there is: trucks, semi-tractors, trailers, boat trailers, everything. And they come in there and they think they're going to just get Dodges or Fords all day. And that's not how it is. And they always want to write up a bunch of work, but not hard work.
Yeah. That last guy we paid that guy a flat rate of $75 an hour because he said, I'm your guy. We asked him all the questions. He answered all the questions. I told Jason, I go, you want to pay this guy that much? He's like, fuck, yeah, we might as well see what happens. Fucking guy left. And you're like, yo, bro was gone for like an hour and a half yesterday. He left.
Yeah. And yeah, he's like, I'm going to go to the gas station. We have a gas station right behind our shop. And so I'm going to go to the gas station. You want anything? I'm like, no, I'm good. Next thing I know, I hear his truck drive by. I'm like, where did he go? I have no idea. Kevin comes in. Where's the new guy? Said he was going to get smokes. I heard him leaving his truck. I don't know. Came back an hour later. I'm like, where'd you go? Well, they didn't have my smokes or whatever he was getting at that gas station, so I went down the road. Dude, you're gone for an hour. There's 6 gas stations within a mile of the shop.
Actually, you said, and where the fuck did you go, Flint? We're in Farmington. It's an hour away.
And the thing I've seen is they want a lot of money and do nothing. Because at the dealer, they can hide all that because nobody's watching. And they can write up a bunch of flagged hours and warranty hours. And
No, I agree with that. That's yeah.
Half the time you talk to them, they say they don't do half of it, but they get paid for it. So there's no one out there checking to make sure they're doing it.
That's kind of crazy when you stop and think about it. Like most customers think the dealer is like top level, like top shelf. You go and there's Smirnoff, there's Papa, there's Grey Goose, and then Tito's, right? They think they're always going to the top shelf. They're going to the dealer. They're paying the high dollar price and all that stuff like that, and they get shit like that. And we're not painting every dealer with every tech the same way, but as the older guys phase out and these younger guys phase in, we're screwed. Because nobody can really fix anything anymore. Nick, you grew up with a dad that was in the business. Jake, you've learned from us. You know, you got a natural ability. Jason has been in the business for a long time, but you get these guys nowadays, and
everybody nowadays seems to only want to change parts.
Yeah.
Nobody knows how to test it or find out what the problem is. Every time it's a hard problem, they just freak out.
They really do. And over the years, we've had so many people just bug out and quit and walk out. They just can't handle it. And, Nick, I mean, how many, you talked about a guy, Jake, I mean, who can you remember walking out, coming there, working, and not lasting very long?
Actually, the Zach story is pretty funny because April 1st was on a Monday and it was April Fool's, and Friday before you left, you were like, don't fucking call me Monday morning saying that so-and-so quit. I'm not going to fucking have it. And sure as shit, he walks up, talks to Jason. He's like, hey, I don't know if this is good or not. Should I just leave or... And I looked at him. I was like, I told you it was going to fucking happen. And sure as shit, yeah, get your box and get the fuck out. Whether it was him...
How about that Penske guy?
Yeah,
Remember him? I don't even...
Parker, I don't remember his name.
He looked like Parker Schnabel, but I don't even
Oh,
remember.
fuck, I forgot about that
Yeah.
guy. Let's go take a trip down old memory lane. Yeah, I call him Parker Schnabel. That guy had a freaking nose like if he laid on his back and swam, he looked like a fucking shark coming at you. Remember you asked if he was Jewish? Because the air was free his nose. But yeah, what was that guy's story? I completely forgot about Parker Schnabel.
He came from Penske doing fleet work, and they went to, or they had another building or something like that, and he played it off as he was just a ball guy because they had to cut budget or something.
And we found out why they cut budget.
He wasn't
showed up.
Yeah,
His name was Budget. They cut the budget, all right.
Yeah, exactly. No, I mean, who else?
Half the people we have can't even do a normal oil change.
I think that's
Like-
what happened with Parker, wasn't it?
He
I can do oil changes. I worked at Penske, did
Yeah,
all the
and-
fleet maintenance, and
he missed 900 grease fittings on a semi.
yep.
I think the whole time he was employed for like the 17 days, he only showed up for like 8 of them. That helped his case a little bit.
Yeah, we've had these guys that, who Parker Schnabel. Who else? Oh my God, this is so funny.
I think that's about all I saw. I remember Parker,
Who was O'Reilly's? That was Tyler.
Yeah.
Tyler.
Oh yeah, that's Tyler. That guy called me, and it was texting Jason and texting me after he sent his application in. Every day, right? And
Yeah.
I told Jason, I go, man, this fucking guy's persistent. We should probably look at him. I want to do this. I did that. Like every day, he's like, you ready? You ready for me to come to the interview? You ready? And like, finally, I'm like, well, let's hire this guy. Jason's like, yeah. And that was the guy that said you were riding him, but he wasn't greasing stuff. He wasn't doing his job.
Yeah, half the problem is they just don't want to do their job.
Yeah.
And they get mad because we watch what they do because we do good work. So
Yeah, quality is number one. You know, we are the most expensive place around, but we do the best work. We have a reputation that me and Jason have built over the years, and Steve, that we fix shit. If you want it fixed, it's going to cost you a lot of money, but Garrett's will figure it out and we'll get it fixed. We're not so much to do that anymore. Nowadays, we'll fix it, but it's going to cost you a lot of money. And, you know, because back in the day when we were dumbass business owners, it was more of a ego trip, wasn't it?
Yeah.
We'll fix that thing. You know, give me $200. It's, you know what I mean? Now I'm like, yeah, we'll fix it. It's going to be a lot of money, but we fix it, you know? And I think shops like us are kind of dying breed because everybody wants to do the gravy work and kick everything else to the curb. And we fix stuff. I mean, Jason, you know, has a dad that made him work and made his family, you know, all his sons work and stuff like that. So Jason, this is nothing new to Jason. Your dad was in the business. Your dad made you work. So everybody, all of us guys work. My son that just came in 2 weeks ago, is working going on his 3rd week, you know, coming in. I mean, he's seen me work all these years. And he's like, Dad, these people are fucking crazy. I said, oh, you have no idea. You haven't seen shit yet. I mean, out of 99 good customers, we have 1 or 2 crazy ones. There's no doubt about it. But, you know, for the most part, I mean, we run a tight ship. And, you know, our culture is what I say it is. And a lot of people don't believe me because it almost sounds too be good to be true, you know, but it's just the way it is. Like,
which I'm sure is what Jake and Nick both thought when they came in, but obviously here they are. And
I thought that same exact thing before you just said that. I mean, when I'm sitting there telling you, it's like, this fucking guy's selling me. He's acting like, you know, he's 15 and wants his first hand job. He's talking all the shit, you know. He's like everything. He's like, yep,
Yeah.
Nick, you can do that. Paid holidays, Nick, no problem.
Yep.
Hanukkah or Christmas, you take your pick. But my thought is, like, I've done this long enough, and Jason's been there with us. It was fucking miserable, wasn't it, Jay?
yeah, it was tough.
Like Saturdays, I love Stevie as my best friend, but he thought it was a great idea to have everybody show up at 8. He could show up at 10, sit in his office and dick around. Then at 4 o'clock, when these guys got families and stuff and want to go home, hey, it's time to start working. I mean, am I exaggerating?
No, that's exactly how it went down.
Yeah, and I'm just like, I'm not doing it. And when, you know, Steve retired and I bought him out, and then my brother's running, my brother ended up leaving. We worked one Saturday. I said, how much money did you guys make yesterday? Oh, not very much. I said, yeah, we're closing Saturdays. They're like, really? I go, yeah, fuck this. I'm not coming in on Saturdays. It's a waste of your time. I think you made $45 that day, because back in the day, we had fleets that weren't owned by corporations. They were owned by sole proprietors. So if I had a problem with Nick's trucks, I'd call Nick and go, hey, Nick, I have truck 383 down here and these kingpins, brakes, and everything. I have it all in stock. Do you want me to do it today? Fuck yeah, I want it done. I need to work it Monday, right? We would just do them. So these guys would be doing ball joints, tie rods, brakes, and stuff on Saturdays, and they make good money on Saturdays, right? As the corporations started to buy these small mom and pop shops, all of a sudden they're putting $200 limits, $300. What the fuck can you do for $200? You could wave at them, and we're going and picking these trucks up, doing the work.
I was just going to say that. And we had to go drive and pick them all up. Some were a half hour away.
So it got to the point where I'm like, you know, how much? And we ended up losing Michigan Mechanical, right?
American
American Mechanical. The guy called me up. I go, hey, we're closing Saturdays. Well, if you close Saturdays, you're losing us a customer. I said, that's fine. I said, you can bring it we're not bringing it during the week. We're just going to leave. I said, that's fine. It was good. It was a good run. Thank you. But you're not going to tell me what I'm going to do and what I'm not going to do. And I closed, and that was one of the best things I did, because what I realized is these guys would come in Monday fresh as a daisy. They're not dragging ass because they work 9 o'clock till Sunday. You guys know how Saturdays are anyway. You get home from Friday at work, Saturday you unwind, Sunday you start thinking about work again. So if you worked 6 days a week, 60 hours, you did it, Nick. You said it was horrible.
Yeah, it was terrible. I mean, and even when we would do out of town jobs a lot. That was one of their big things, because again, they could milk the company for whatever it is. We got paid per diem. I mean, I made good money at Roush, but I worked a lot of hours. That's the only downfall of that. It just comes down to, you got to value. Do you value your time or your money? And a lot of the guys at Roush, they're like, I'm just providing for my family. I don't ever see them. I just send home a check. I send home all my money, and I'm like, that's awesome that you're providing for your family, but you're not seeing them. You're not hanging out with them. Your wife's raising your kids. You're not. But when we would go out of town, it was 7/12s mandatory, 84 hours a week. It was, you put up in a hotel room, and granted, you're out of town, you got nothing else to do. But I mean, I remember working out in Lansing it was at one of the GM plants. It was in a parking lot, and I got put on midnight, so we would work 12 hours from 6 p.m. to 6:30 a.m. or something, whatever the time schedule was. And yeah, we would work all night long, and then wake up the next morning and, sleep all day, and then wake up, go to work, wake up, go. I mean, that was monotonous. You just become a zombie. I did that for like 3 weeks straight. And, it is what it is. You try and make the best of it for what you can. But I mean, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of guys out there that still work at Roush that they go out of town just to make that extra money, to work those hours. I guess they just don't have a life. I guess that's what it comes down to. I don't know.
But they have a pool boy. You ever find it fucked up when you don't even have a pool, but you have a pool boy that's always at your house and you're out of town working?
Right.
Oh, he's over cleaning the pool again. You're like, you don't have a fucking pool.
Yeah.
Hey, when's your check coming in? I see you worked 84 hours last week. Like, that cannot be healthy for a relationship, especially as a young couple.
Right. Yeah. I mean, when I was working there, it was like I was still living at home. My girlfriend was living at home, so with her parents. So we kind of we would hang out when we could. But at that point, I was money focused. I was like, yeah, let's, I'm going to work all these hours, make all this money. I needed one of my buddies went out and bought a razor, and I'm like, man, that's pretty cool. Maybe I'll get one. I looked up, found one on Marketplace. It was like $13,000. I was like, okay, let me just go get $13,000 from the bank and go buy it. Like back then, it was nothing for just pull out some money, go get a new toy. It was like, that's, not to say I was balling, but I had some good money back then till reality hit. Now I got a house and a mortgage and, all these other payments. So it hit me pretty hard, but I had fun,
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah. And it's like, as a business owner, and Jason can contest to this, it's like, my thought has always been, if I can get the place more efficient, that means we have to work less. Like literally, I worked like you guys. When I was at Hal's, I worked 8 to 6:30 every day and 8 to 2 on Saturdays. And I'm like, I fucking hate Saturdays. Like, I always used to think to myself, why can we not run this place from Monday through Friday and be efficient enough to make enough money so we could have 2 days off a week like everybody else? Why do we have to go on Saturday mornings? And it's even worse in the automotive world. It's like the Saturday morning coffee club. These fucking guys who have nothing better to do than come and talk to the mechanic and get an oil change or whatever and not buy anything because their wife is still sleeping, like they're bored. They all sit in the lobby and talk. I'm like, this is fucked. And you're on commission making $6 a freaking LOF. Like, so you make $25 for the whole day. I'm like, this is horrible. And well, it's all about customer service. So why don't you service your customers? I'm here to make money, and $24 on a Saturday is not worth it. And Steve Garrett used to make us work Saturdays too. And it was almost like he didn't want to be home with his fucking wife and stuff. So we were stuck doing it. And that's the truth.
Yeah.
Sorry, it is.
I think he was at work till 11 every day.
He was at work till 11 every day.
In his office, sleeping most of the time.
Sleeping most of the time, yeah. And, we're just like, you know what? This is honestly not the way to live. And I I remember Jason's face, and I'm like, I'm going to close Saturdays. He's just like, what? I'm like, yeah, we're done. And we closed Saturdays, and we haven't worked. And then when the 96 traffic came, we were all so miserable with the 96 construction, how we couldn't get to work at 8 o'clock because we were always late because we just didn't know what happened. And then we were trying to go home at 5, and you leave at 5. And it's just like, this is horrible. You sat in traffic for an hour and a half. We all lived in Howell. We're all within a mile of each other, right? And so I'm like, yeah, let's change the hours to 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. You guys, what do you guys think? You're like, hell yeah. Right? And I mean, it's a life changer because you look at all these other shops. They're making these guys work till 7:30, 7 o'clock. It's like, you cannot make enough money between 8 and 5. Like our business hours for 25 years at Garrett's were 8 to 5. And then Saturdays. And they were struggling. Like when Steve's dad owned the place and Steve, they were still struggling. And it's just like, obviously something's really wrong here. And granted, prices have gone up to the point where it's almost like I look at our estimates and like, holy shit. But then again, I go have somebody come in my house and do something. It's like, holy shit. So it's not like just our trade, you know? But the one thing we've done is when we raised our prices, we raised your guys' wages. It's not like I'm like, hey, guys, we're broke. Look at my new Cybertruck. Look at my Corvette. And, you know, I'm going to talk about that in a minute. Like, I pay you guys all good enough, me and Jason do, that you guys aren't struggling at life. Your friends, a lot of your friends, you know, probably have good jobs, but you have your other friends that work a job and you're like, dude, that's all you make? Like, you might want to think about doing something else. And I was talking about when I got my Corvette, how you guys called and you're like, hey, Jason's like, we're all coming over. Like, did you get it? We're going to come over and check it out. Like, you guys were not mad. You were happy. You're like, that's badass.
Right.
Because, and it's rightfully so. And when you guys buy something, I'm generally happy. Like, it's great. Like, everybody's going up, you know, and I talked about in the one podcast, you're all the new Harleys in front of the shop. Like, you pull in the shop, my Corvette was out there the one day, and then Jason's Harley, Jake's Harley, and, you know, and I'm like, okay, this is badass. You know, your house, you have the razor, you know what I mean? Everybody has their toys, and we can actually go and use them because you can afford gas in your razor because your boss isn't a dickhead that taking all the money for himself. And there's a lot of these guys that live in these big mega mansions and go, yeah, sorry, Nick, I really can't afford to give you that dollar raise you want because, you know, I just bought this new boat over here. You know, and there's a payment. And that's a reality nowadays. And I don't want to, and I told Jason this a while ago, I said, when I'm done and I walk out, I want you guys to go, well, that was a good run. Now Jason's in charge and we're going to keep going the same way. And I'm not going to step over a bunch of broken bodies. And that's what happens in this business. I know lots of guys that had guys work for them for 30 years and walk in one day and say, hey, guess what? I sold the place to what do they call these groups that are buying these equity firms? And these are your new bosses. It was nice meeting you, know, being with you for 30 years, and walk out the door. And then you guys have just, you're a number now. You're a number in a corporation. You know, we're going to keep it small. What my plan is, and I don't know what Jason's plan is, Jason and Lincoln are going to work together. And as Jason gets older, he's going to probably sell it back to Lincoln. So it's going to stay. You know, Jason's been like my son. So we're going to keep it in the family. You know what I mean? And keep it going. And I think a lot of business owners get so fucking greedy. They lose sight of taking care of their key people. And that's why when I realized that with Jason and with Jim Gray at Motor City and Jason at Garrett's, I'm like, why not make him an owner now? Why not give him some of the profit now? He's doing some of the work. You know, I do the office stuff. He does the Outback stuff. So why not give him some? Like, give him ownership. You know what I mean? Someday maybe you guys will buy into the shop and you guys will all, you know what I mean? Who knows what could possibly happen? But, you know, what is your thought on all this, Jason? I mean, where's it all gone and how's it all changed? Let's talk about that.
It's gone quite well. I'd say, like when I first started, I actually thought Kevin ran the place and owned the company because everything that went on at the shop had to go through Kevin. If we needed something, oh, we got to talk to Kevin about that, or if something went wrong in the shop, Kevin dealt with it. It's the funny story between us. Every time we sit down, I'm like, dude, I thought you ran the shop the whole time. Like, he's like, no, I was just like you, just in the back working, you know?
Why did you not go to Steve?
We did.
Oh,
You
but-
go to Steve, and then he would say, "Well, we got to talk to Kevin." Or you.
oh,
need to go.
Steve would
Yeah.
even say that too.
He was the fucking owner.
Oh, yeah, right. That's how I was like.
Talk about a control freak I was, huh?
Yeah, go talk to Kevin about that, and he always figured it out.
Hmm.
If he didn't, we all got together and we all figured it out. And yeah,
It was just different times. I remember one time I came back from vacation. Jason's like, I made no money last week. I checked everything out. And I turned my estimates, and Steve said, wait till next week when Kevin gets back.
yeah, because he couldn't figure it out or didn't want to do it. Kevin came back and he's like, "Why didn't you call me?" Well, you're on vacation, man. I'm not.
Everybody knows don't call Kevin on vacation.
Don't even call me on fucking Friday now. Jesus Christ. You know that. We had to tell
Yeah.
Phil 80 fucking times
Yeah.
still.
And
Yeah.
I guess ever since I started, and that could be how I'm in the position I am now, but if Kevin's happy or Steve was happy, we're all happy. You know, my goal was when they walked in the door, they didn't even see me because that meant I was working and they were happy. If I heard them yelling, I knew I was not doing something right. And that's been my goal all 19 years. If I'm working and they're not talking to me, they're happy. So keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah, but you know, in your defense, Jason, you think a lot like me. Like it's not like we're lovers, but you like sometimes finish my sentences because I'll say something, and I'll stop. Yeah, Gary, right? It's like I stop, and then she's like blah blah blah, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, just finish my sentence, you know. But it's true. Like when you get together, when you're working together for so many years, you kind of know. You know, that's one of the struggles I have with my wife. It's like you should do this. We tried that in 1989. It didn't fucking work. Well, I think we should try it then. Why? Because you said it, and it's a big fight. If I look at Jason and go, we don't do that, and he's like, yeah, I didn't think we should do that either because we've been down that road. And, you know, it's like some of these customers that come in, we're like, you look at the vehicle, like, you should probably call this guy and tell him to get it out of here. We're not even going to go down the road. Or they fly underneath the radar. The service advisors, we're a little bit slow. So they're like, yeah, we'll work on your 1969 Pace Aero motor home with a fucking straight slant six, you know, Dodge, and you know the carburetor's flooding over, and we're like, what the
Well, I don't know what you mean because you seem cool.
yeah, right, yeah. So they're like, yeah, once you get the raccoon, remember that circus
Mhm.
trailer that came in?
Yeah.
Guys like, yo, it's been sitting there only for like 3 weeks.
Yeah, I had raccoon crap all in it and feces and
Yeah, we looked at a tag and it said State Fair 1978 or some
Yeah.
shit outside of it. I called the guy and I said, yeah, you just got to get this thing out of here.
Yeah, and I will say, since I started 19 years ago, the shops came a long ways, all for the good, obviously. But back when I started, there was a time I thought we were going under. I think it was, when was it? Like 08, 07?
Yeah. Yeah, when we were there, when the
Yeah.
crash happened, and
Yeah, there was like nothing for a month, I think. Nothing was coming in, and it was a sad day, but
I remember you guys talking. I remember Jim going, well, I'll just go get another job. Where the fuck you can go get another job at? Everybody's fucking slow. You can go sit on that hill over there with the Chrysler guys. You want to sit with the school guys. Like literally, that's kind of how it was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
You couldn't go anywhere else.
And the thing that worried me back then is I didn't know as much as I know now, but Steve was always struggling. You know what I mean? I think at that time we actually cut wages a little bit back then because we were hurting so bad.
Yeah, and I remember like one of the things that, and you can't fault him 100% why the business was not actually aspiring because he learned from his dad. So I always say to these, Jason, I was like, you always got to look at something. I tell Lincoln this too. There's always something to be learned in any situation, good or bad, right? If somebody's fucking something up, you're like, I'm learning not to do it that way, right? And one thing that was a fight nonstop was marketing. I'm like, we should get a website. You don't need none of them newfangled stuff. That website stuff, that's just a flash in the pan. And I'm like, no. And I started at 2008 fighting with him. 2011, I finally I traded my friend Shane a bunch of different stuff, and he ended up putting a website together for us. Chris Trail and him did. And so we've had a website since 2011. So now what does that translate to? We were probably 8 years ahead of the curve of everybody else in our business. So we've always been cutting edge. And now I just like, fuck it. I advertise the shit out of everything because that's the way it is. Here we are advertising how badass we are on a podcast, right? But I think the digital world is the way it is now. And so, so these guys in our business, think about it. There's not a lot of business owners that do what I do. Okay. Look at me. I bought a Cybertruck. Gay. Like everybody's like, you're fucking gay, right? You guys, when I said I bought an EV, you guys are like, what?
Gay.
Gay?
I thought you were fucking with me. Memorial weekend, I was sending you videos of the semi-truck races. And you're like, oh, I'm getting a Cybertruck. I was like, fuck you. No, you're not. And then you show up, you're like, I got a Cybertruck. I was like, oh, I thought you were fucking with me for a second. But all right, cool.
Yeah. But the funny thing is, and I want to talk about this for a minute because there's a couple different thoughts I had. Like, I want to start doing maintenance on them. Washer, solvent, and tire rotation seem to be only maintenance, right? But eventually they're going to need brakes and stuff like that. We could do all that. We could do all that. Okay. So my thought is educate yourself a little bit, do it. But when I got it, it was the technology thing that just kind of blew me away. And you guys got to admit, when you ride in that thing, the technologies kick ass.
It is. It's nice.
You know,
It's just crazy, like how no other car manufacturer can figure out and have something work so good.
yeah.
It is gay, but
It's super gay, but it's also super simple. And to me, that's what kind of took me away. It was just like, everything was so streamlined. And yeah, it was just a whole different ball game. I didn't know what to think.
No, it's and I was talking to the guy with the race trailer. That guy's he's bringing it back tomorrow. By the way,
Yeah.
the left front brake's getting hot. He said, but he was talking. He was a software engineer for the big three. He said last year there was something like $3.7 billion in recall software because software's so fucked up in the automotive world. And I said, this could either go one or two ways with you, Mr. Taylor. I said, I bought a Tesla, and I cannot believe how badass the software is. And he said, I know what the funny thing is? He said, us as engineers look at how he did that and think to ourselves, why do we have to keep building on the bullshit legacy stuff that the big three have been doing for years? It's wrong. It's wrong. It's wrong. It's wrong. He said, this guy started out with a clean slate and built something up. And I was looking up, and there's Cybertruck or the Hummer, EV Hummer GM makes, has over 2,000 circuits in it, they said. They say that Cybertruck has under 200 circuits. So you have 2,000 to 200. Think about that. And, I mean, don't get me wrong, the Hummer does a lot of stuff, but I stopped by the dealer today because I wanted to get all Maryland stuff out of her Yukon that's fucking blown up with 39,000 miles on with a 6.2.
Wasn't me.
Huh?
That wasn't me.
No, it was GM. They didn't boil the blocks. It's got metal in them, and they're freaking going in the cranks and stuff and killing the motors. They do not have any 6.2s on the lot for sale. They have all 2.7s and Sierras. They said they can't even get a 6.2.
I heard them 2.7s ain't that great either.
No, he said they're trying to fucking sit there and put the 2.7s. Like, you come and, hey, I towed my boat up north. And, oh, you need this fucking 2.7 because that's all we got. Now my paycheck depends on it. These guys are hooking these freaking 7,000-pound boats up and making that poor little engine work its dick off, and it blows up. So the 6.2s are back ordered. Now, God only knows when they're going to get that. And he said it's horrible right now. Then you get Ford that comes out with the recalls. And, people can talk shit about Teslas, but everybody you really talk to, a Tesla works. And I know pretty much anybody that has OnStar app is a piece of shit that they charge you stupid money for.
Mhm.
How many times you have to try to unlock your door?
a lot.
A lot. It doesn't work.
Like 3-4 times, and it'll just sit there and spin.
Yeah. And it's just like, it's kind of crazy the world we live in. And we have to work on all this junk, these GM trucks. And it just keeps getting worse and worse, these exhaust systems. And I kind of hope that the Trump administration loosens up some of the EPA stuff. I mean, these regens and stuff like that are insane.
And I will say on your software updates, seems like every truck that comes in needs a software update. Like every time you check one, or every time you pull a code, check for a software update before doing any diagnosis. It's like, and Tesla can do it with 200 circuits.
Yeah.
And then when you need an update, they just send it to you with a click of a button.
Yeah.
While
My
you're on Wi-Fi, boom, there's your update. Now you can go faster.
My truck, for some reason, up at the cabin this weekend, it pinged my phone. It says you have a software update. And I'm like, what? It said hook to Wi-Fi. I'm like, hook to Wi-Fi? The thing's got Starlink on it. So I hooked it to my house Starlink at the cabin. It did it took an hour to update all the maps. And you know the funny thing is, I know what the update was for because they let one out Tuesday, and all of a sudden the self driving was riding the freaking rumble strips. Like it would ride all the way to the left or it would ride all the way to the right, and it was irritating. You're like, it would start, boom, and they fixed it with. I think it was Monday or Tuesday. They did the update. Saturday they're sending out a push to fix it, the self driving, to get it back straightened out in the
Wow.
line.
It took GM 6 months. To
And they still would have
maybe
had
get
to.
right.
They still would have had to do another one.
Yeah, exactly. So it's kind of crazy, you know, and some of the stuff you guys have to deal with nowadays. I mean, look at the bullshit we're going through with that Ford right now, and
Yeah.
it's like,
There's always something going on. Fix one problem, then you gotta fix another problem to fix the problem you fixed.
yeah. Let's go back down. Let's go back to the thing. Like, let's talk about the shop flow and how you guys, how our processes work to keep everything flowing good and what's expected out of everybody on the floor and how we do things. Let's talk about a checkout because a lot of it seems to me when like I watch these videos, a lot of these guys like these flat rate techs are getting screwed because the service advisors really don't know how to write the tickets. Like, and I tell, and I'll go ahead and expand on this so we can get nail this right the first time. Like with Lincoln, you know, he just got out of school. My son, he started working the shop three weeks ago. I tell him the best type of service advisor is one that listens and writes down exactly what the customer says. What do you mean by that? Well, hey, my truck smells. Well, when does it smell? Well, after I drive to my grandma's house 30 miles away, I get off the expressway, park it. It smells and smoke comes up underneath the hood. You should literally write that on the repair order complaint so the mechanic doesn't have to sit there and figure out what exactly the smell means. You know what I mean? When do your brakes squeal? My brakes squeal first thing in the morning, and after that, it doesn't. Well, how long did the car sit around? Well, it sat around for 2 weeks in the rain. You know, that's the stuff I believe that I would always tell them, write exactly what the customer says, right? So you guys as techs kind of have the information so you don't go, I don't know what the fuck this means, you know? And that's one thing that we keep working with our service advisors over and over again to do it. So I want to talk about, Jason, how you stack up your thing as a flat rate mechanic and how you turn the hours you do. Because once again, on TikTok, they're like, there's no way this guy makes the money he says he makes and turns the hours he says he does. Because this guy pays this guy, if this guy pays this guy $75 an hour, that means this guy could probably turn 9 hours a week because the shop is so slow, the guy's got to pay him that much. That makes no sense. If we're that slow and I'm that broke, I'm that shitty of a business owner, I would pay the guy $12 an hour and have a shitty mechanic. If you have a guy you're paying $75 plus an hour or two, he better be able to fix some shit. Wouldn't you guys agree?
Yep.
So, I mean, let's talk about, we're going to go around the table what's expected as technicians from you guys and how we do it in our shop and how Nick is missing a finger because he messed up and I only cut the tip off. But next time you're going to get the rest of it.
So the routine at the shop it's changed many times over the years, obviously, to get better. But the first thing to do, I guess, would be have a good shop program. A good shop program makes you a lot of money. And it helps the techs out a lot. Like when I first started, we were writing on paper, and that took forever. Then you turn the paper into a service writer. Service writer would be like, I never got that. And you'd have to rewrite or think what you wrote up. And so now we use Shopware's program, which works pretty good. And on a daily basis, weekly basis, I probably don't have under 5 vehicles on my checkout or approved list. And I normally just go down the list and see what jobs are there. And sometimes I pick and choose, like between a check engine light, engine noise, to a brake squeak or DOT. I most of the time I go with the easier ones first, get those all checked out. And when we check a truck out, no matter what it's for, we pretty much check front to back. Lights, wipers, make sure the washers work, check all the tires, check the brakes. During oil change, look at the front ends, check kingpins, all that kind of stuff. So we can get as much work off one truck as you can. And In our business, we do a lot of fleet stuff, so we know that the company doesn't want the truck down longer than it has to be. Because I'd be more mad if I got my truck back and 2 days later the brakes were grinding and they brought it in for oil change. So I normally check out the lighter stuff first that I know I can do quick. I get those checked out, wrote up, and while I'm waiting for the service advisor to get parts and all that for those and a price quote together, I start on the heavy diagnosis stuff. And that's about how I do my flow.
All right, let's talk about your flow, Nick. What's expected of you?
I guess I do similar to Jason's. Obviously, I'm not a flat rate technician yet, but I do think of things as a flat rate tech. I like to think that, you know, obviously my hours do matter to me, even though I get paid by the hour. But, you know, I still look at that and I think that no matter what the job is, I'll look at it same as you. Oh, this one's just a brake squeal. This one's sometimes a check engine light could be an easy one if it's like an F-150 or something. You're like, okay, a check engine light, sure, I'll check that out. Or sometimes you just scan it, pull the codes, so you got a mental idea. Oh, this is going to be a big deal. Oh, it's an evap leak. I can get with this, you know. Or then you kind of just go from there. Oil change, you know, you could just knock that out, and I don't know. I guess you kind of just figure it out. Every job is so different that it's never like, you know, a bunch of, you know, 5 trucks come in for the same thing. It's always this one comes in for a rear main seal leak and this one comes in for, you know, kingpins or whatever. Every job is so different. You just got to look at each one and say, you know, I can do this right now, or I can, you know, maybe wait on this one while this one's getting approved, then I can write this one up and check that one out. So you kind of got to juggle it. It took me a while to, and I'm still figuring it out. Obviously, I don't have a good as routine as Jason, but figuring out the routine to balance time versus checking something out, or sometimes the checkout could go longer than expected, and you know, and nothing's ever goes as according as like you want it to. It's never as simple as it ever should be, but as you think it is. Some people are like, "Oh, my truck just needs a battery. Can you just put a battery in it?" Well, why does it need a battery? Then you figure out, "Oh, your alternator's not working, charging your battery." But you're the mechanic, Mr. Customer, and you tell me it needs a battery. So everyone thinks it's easy until you actually got to figure out the root cause.
Amen on that. So, Jake, what do you got?
Oh, well, you guys
Spit your wisdom, sir.
you between you two, you've beat it into me like a dead horse, pretty much. Just so everything that's approved should be like later on in the day, but you always want to have like 1 or 2 jobs in the chute that are already approved. You already have parts for. So first thing in the morning, check out what you need to, like that boat trailer I was working on today. I had the liftgate issue, so I looked at that and I talked to Jason with it, looked it over, checked it out, wrote it up, and then once that was wrote up, sent it over, and then I started working on the boat trailer because I knew I could get that done quick. But that's kind of how I look at it. Unless I'm stuck and the truck's stuck on a lift, then obviously I'm going to try and finish that up so I can do more truck outs. But first things first, like you said, when Jason started, you guys were saying that the first part of the morning before lunch would be all checkouts, and then everything else was already, you had parts, and then that was the last half of the day was finishing what you had.
Yeah, and I think a big thing in the morning is a good thing, a meeting in the morning. Let everybody know what's expected of them in your shop in the morning. You know, talk to your service advisors, you know, have them say, okay, what's going on. But if you're a good shop foreman, a good business owner like me and Jason, I could pretty much tell you what's going on with every job in the shop when you walk up. I don't have to go, let me look. I pretty much know, and so do you. Like that 305 250 doorman clamp the other day, you literally knew what job it went. I'm like, hey, where's this come from? It's 20. You're like, oh, that right there, that's on Great Oaks. And it even had the wrong PO number. You fucking knew. That's how we are. We just know, you know. I'm an analytics guy. Like I realized early on that if you don't know your numbers, you don't know your business. You know, I could tell you what numbers we do, what labor hours we do, what our average is and stuff like that, month after month after month, because I've done it for 35 years, right? So, and we all want to buy cool shit. So, we buy cool shit, we got to make money.
And one thing I normally do too is in the morning I'll walk by and look at all their shelves and see what parts are on there, because normally I know what they're checking out and what they're doing. So I'll walk by there and see what parts are on there. That way, when you come in or somebody comes up, I'll be like, yeah, they're doing brakes on that, or his old dad's doing kingpins, or just a thing, so I know kind of what's going on.
Yeah. And I agree with you, what you said, Jason. The number one most important thing that most guys do, they do not invest in technology. And we could do a live walkthrough of the shop. I have a freaking 75-inch TV screen sitting in front of the two service advisors that they could look at what jobs, and we could scroll over and see how much labor sold for the days and everything right away. I mean, I think that everybody needs to know what's going on. And, I used to tell the guys, if it's not written on a piece of paper, it's not true. Well, the only place I think our program is lacking is the messaging.
Yeah.
Besides that, I think our program works very well. The Shopwares program, and they're going to sponsor us. They just don't know it yet.
The one thing I will say that was hard is just the way we did it before for so long. I was there for 15 years or so before we got Shopwares. We had Mitchell before, and it was just so easy and stuff to use, where obviously changing into a new program, it sucked. But at the end of the day, it makes more money.
It really does, because it does a better job. So I want to just really, in finishing this up, I want to talk about, just have an open forum. Nick, you talk about something, any topic in our business, you and you. So just anything we want to talk about, just anything.
Let's let Jake go first.
I was
think
hoping you'd start it off.
think of something good.
Well, I want to talk about all the alcohol sitting on this table except for Jason. He is such a good boy. Like he said, no, I'll have water. What are you drinking?
Long drink. If they're trying to get a sponsor, I'll drink a long drink.
Yeah, Jake.
Real
Good old
good.
summer shandy, can't beat it.
Yeah, so, and then I'm drinking Coors Light, because I'm an EV.
I picture you as more of a Bud Light kind of guy. Just kidding.
Yeah, no,
Don't
Bud
fire
Light
me.
because of EV guy. Bud Light, yeah.
It goes good with your Tesla.
It is Pride Month.
It's all starting to make sense.
So I just kind of want to think about anything you guys want to talk about. I thought it would be kind of funny. It doesn't even have to pertain to, it could pertain to anything in life. I don't even give a shit because.
The one thing I'll throw out there is, if you don't have shop camaraderie and friendship, you're going to go nowhere. You got to like everybody in the shop. I don't say you got to hang out with them all the time, but it is nice to know that outside of work you can be friends with them and you don't hate each other.
No, I'd agree with that. A lot of cutthroat shit goes on in shops, and we're here to help each other. And at the end of the day, it's we're a small business, so try to help each other and finish it up. What do you got, Jake? Come on, let's talk boating or something. You're a lake guy.
No,
This
not
fucking
a
guy
lake.
moved from Howell to Commerce, has a lake house
Walled
now.
Lake, it's different. It's
Oh.
not a lake house. I live near a lake.
But you have your own slip. Only rich people have their own slips.
Oh my God. Jeez, here we go. I'm gonna be ridiculed for this one. No, like I was talking about earlier, I see you guys more than anybody else, and it's like one big fucked up family, which is kind of cool. And then we have our little shop distractions, like snowball fights or spraying each other with brake
Hey.
clean.
He's not supposed to know about this.
Kevin's like, what snowball fight?
I don't. The thing is, though, like my mom's like, you're kind of a fucked up boss. I'm like, why is that? She's like, you really don't care about like these guys throwing snowballs, or like you'll buy lunch or they'll buy lunch. And like, here's this is a good topic. How we do lunch?
Which part about it?
As you can tell, we eat well.
No, tell me. Okay, if you really stop and think about it, what is the average lunch when we buy like 5 lunches?
When we buy or when Jake buys?
You don't buy lunch.
So, like, okay, what's an average lunch per day?
Nowadays, gotta be, yeah.
$100,
80
right?
to $100, yeah.
And there's Nick, Jake, Lincoln, Jason, me, and you, Nick, right? So there's 6 people,
Phil.
and Phil
And Jody.
and Jody.
Yeah,
So
now we can't afford
Yeah,
it.
now.
Yeah, but the thing is about it, like you guys, we were cycling lunches. It's like we're eating fucking Olive Garden.
Yeah.
We're like Texas Roadhouse. Like we eat pretty fucking good at this shop. And my point to that is, if we were all broke, we wouldn't be eating freaking, Jason.
PB and J's and Slim Jims.
Yeah. Well, I thought Jason. What is it? You get the the chicken with the tomato sauce on from Olive Garden, then put fucking
Chicken
mustard
parm.
on.
Parmesan.
Yeah, and a salad, and order extra breadsticks, or you get the super burrito over at the Mexican restaurant. Like, I want 2 pounds of freaking nacho chips with it. But you know, we do live good over there, eat lunch and stuff like that. But now it's really weird because our hours are 7 to 4, but you guys are eating lunch at 3.
Yeah, that kind of just seemed like since we started, since I started, we would eat lunch later and later every day. It's kind of strange. I don't know.
It actually, I'll say this for all of us, but it actually makes production go faster.
I agree.
100%.
It could be because what we eat, but
Well, that makes you want to take a nap.
like I've always thought that about lunch, and my dad's yelled at me since we started. Since I started working at Garrett's, he's like, "You guys get an hour for lunch?" He's like, he's like, "No wonder you are so tired when you go back to work or whatever." I'm like, "Dude, we gotta relax, you know."
Old
But, like,
John.
we used to eat lunch at 11:30 or 11,
11
Yeah.
o'clock.
and
I hated
you
it.
would get done with lunch, and you're like, "Man, we still got 5 hours to go in this day." You know, I'm like, I'm all hot, I'm full on food, I don't want to do anything, you know. So taking lunch at 2:45, 3 o'clock, you just sit down, relax, get wound down before your trip home, and it just puts you in a lot better mood, I guess, because you're already relaxed before you get home. Like, I will say, I used to get home and I was pretty hostile from traffic
No.
and everything else, and it just gives you a minute to wind down before you go home.
I don't have them problems anymore. I'm an Airbnb guy. My Tesla drives me to work. Well, it massages my ass. So if I and I put the road that it's usually blue, but they have rainbow mode, so I have rainbow mode. So I'm relaxed in the morning when I get there. No, you're right though. Some days it's just like fuck. I cannot stand this shit. And anybody that's in this business knows how bad it sucks some days. Some days it's easy, we flow through it. But one good thing is you guys don't have a freaking boss like Jason or me. I don't come and fucking scream and yell at you. You guys break something, it's like, fuck, yep, I broke that shit before. It is what it is. Don't do it again. Let's get on with life, right? But some of us break shit more than others, Jake. But
Man, how about them Canadian wildfires?
holy shit, you want to know something? My fucking truck told me today you should probably put your you should probably go into what's that mode it had, because I didn't realize this, the air quality right now is unhealthy because of the Canadian fires.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Yeah.
Detroit had like the worst air quality, I think, on Friday.
Yeah, so my
it was
truck
like
said it's
top
unhealthy.
10.
Would you like to put it in
Research.
no, hazardous, remember the
Hazmat or something.
hazmat mode to have it cycle the air coming into the truck? I'm like, you gotta be fucking kidding me.
You should drive behind this guy. I felt bad for Jason.
Oh, stink.
Oh,
You left
yeah.
your house the other day, your truck was like,
Oh yeah, that's what happens when it runs on 7 cylinders. But yeah, I was laughing the other day. We were driving, me and my wife, and she had the window down, and I had mentioned something about all the haze in the air, and I'm like, yeah, I guess it's from the smoke out of the Canada fires, and she's like, oh, which she's 21 weeks pregnant right now, so she was like, oh, let me roll the window up, like maybe I shouldn't breathe this, as I like turn the vents on, and it just blows in from the vents. Like it really makes no difference, but I just laughed a little bit. I'm like, I guess it makes some difference, but
I didn't think of it the other morning until I got in the truck and I went to leave. And I'm sitting I sit in the bench out by the lake at the cabin. I'm sitting there looking, I go, man, it's really foggy today. Like, but it's over the top of the trees and everything. I'm like, this is really weird. Then my neighbor's like, no, it's fucked up here because of the Canadian wildfires. I'm like, it was weird because my eyes were burning a little bit. I didn't realize did you realize? Fuck Canadians again. We need to fucking take the military from them, take the money, just fuck them. They light too many fires. They're irritating. So, but yeah, I think we're pretty much done, Jay. How long? Yeah, so we got a bunch of good, cool shit, huh?
We can keep going.
Yeah. So, what should I say on the official ending?
Okay.
Yeah. No, I'm actually happy that, you know, you guys, we found each other and then you guys work at the shop and we're going to spend the rest of our lives till one of us die. Probably me first. I imagine the way I feel lately. And then, you know, I'm going to go ahead and step down and Jason's going to take over. And then after, you know, you guys will probably retire. We'll probably cycle somebody else in. Then Lincoln will take over. But the weird thing about me being at Garrett Auto and Truck, there's a lot of memories there for me because if you think about the people who started that business in 1958 are both gone. So this is kind of deep, but I came in 35 years ago or 30 years ago. I've been in business for like 38 years, but so I came in, I kind of know where all the body, I know a lot about the shop and about the history and stuff like that. Then Jason came in, so he knows a lot about what I've told him, but we're going to tell Lincoln, but a little bit of heritage is lost every time. It's kind of fucking weird, you know, and someday I imagine after Jason's gone and Lincoln owns it, there'll be some credit union that'll come in and go, hey, I want to buy your property. And Lincoln will be like, fucking, I'm out or whatever, you know, but it's really weird that Steve and his dad started that in 1958 at the top of the hill where we turn off the expressway on the left. There's used to be a gas station right there. You know, when you go on your test drive, you come back up, you go straight across.
Yep.
That's where used to be a gas station right there. That's where it started. It was called Grand Halstead.
Huh.
Then they moved to Garrett in 1982, and it's been there ever since. But you know, them guys are dead and gone.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, wow. You know, and you know, I mean, there's a lot of things that remind you of Steve.
Mhm.
You know, you didn't really know his dad. His dad was a fucking asshole. You know, anybody that sues their own son because he wants to buy the business is he's a prize. But, you know, so my thought is having a business that when I'm done someday, you guys will be happy to see me. You have to see me because you live next door. And if you ever quit or something, Nick, I will burn your fucking house down.
Yeah, that's fine. I'll have to move before I quit. You'd be like, huh, I wonder why he's moving. He doesn't like the area anymore.
Right. I had to buy Jake's house to keep him fucking there and let him live there. For 2 years.
I'd still be there. I would have figured out a way.
Yeah.
I'm not leaving.
Yeah. So, you know, it's good to have guys that you get along with and, you know, we all get along and, you know, Jason's been with me forever, you know, and here's a funny story. I used to have the fucking company meetings where I would, when he was younger, I would be like, okay, like this stupid shit. Like I painted the inside of the whole place. We all did. And these motherfuckers could not stand over the sink and wash their hands. They would wash their hands. I swear to God, they'd be like this and it'd be all over the walls. And I'd pull everybody in the bathroom. I'm like, guys, we just painted. How the fuck can there be grease all over the walls? Asshole here. I'll just wash my hands at home. I'm like, Spencer, shut the fuck up. All right. Fucking smart ass. And apparently that's been a long running tradition, his mouth, because his dad worked for his dad. His dad, like, I would throw you off this fucking roofie. But, you know, all in fun though. You know, I remember when COVID happened, I'm like, hey, we need to take a pay cut. He's like, we're doing all the work. I'm like, yeah, but I don't know if we're gonna have a fucking shop.
Yeah.
But, you know, we didn't. I ended up doing it for 2 weeks and I gave you guys the money back. I'm like, holy fuck. Because these guys were like, yeah, we're going to work. So we all just worked through it. So we all made money. I didn't raise the prices and stuff like that. But that's kind of like you could look at guys that you know really going to go, what do you think? Well, I don't want to go home. I don't want to stay home. Like, I'll work. So we all went to work every day, you know. And that's kind of like the camaraderie that most people really struggle to do. And a lot of times I think it's because the leadership doesn't lead. They freaking, you know, they get behind them and freaking crack a whip on them all the time. You know, when Jason comes up and goes, hey, this is really fucked up, or I fucked this up, I'm like, ooh, yeah, I've done that before because I have. I'm not that arrogant business owner going, I was a mechanic. When I used to be on the floor, I never broke anything. I diagnosed everything. Like, we are going to fuck shit up. We're going to crash stuff. Hey, give me a call when you got a minute. Hey, what's up? You know that brake problem that so-and-so said they had? I'm like, yeah. He's like, they didn't tell me there's no brakes. They came over the curb and hit a fucking truck and smashed the front of the girl. Like, ooh. I'm like, don't worry. We own a body shop. We can fix it. But that's all the worst thing that happens to us this month. Then fuck it. You know, Jim Gray would put it back together with paper clips and do it. But there's been lots of shit like that over the years that I've proven, like, to these guys, like, I try to, like, I've been there. that you're sick to your stomach the night before, waiting to go, I got to tell them. Well, you just told me I was up all night on that one job. You're like, I was up all night, didn't even want to tell you. What was that latest one? Remember, you're like, I was all fucked up. Oh, Kennedy.
Yeah.
Kennedy truck was a bad deal for everybody. You know, the thing comes in with a blown turbo, fills the exhaust with thing, doesn't run out of oil, comes in running, and then we put a turbo on and put exhaust on, and it blows the motor 30 miles later. Like that's not really our fault because it never was low on oil. Like, you know, that's the kind of shit that happens. You just got to look at it and go, well, guess what, Jason? You put it in, we'll buy the parts, we'll give it to the customer at cost, and, you know, do the right thing. But in ending, here's the problem with not running your business the right way, because some of these business owners are fucking stupid. They don't know how to run their business. They're not only stupid, they're arrogant, think they're doing a good job, and they get on TikTok and go, I'm $40 an hour cheaper than all my competitors. I'm kicking ass. No, you're cheap, and everybody knows you're cheap, so they're going to go to you, and you're going to get the wrong kind of customers. If you charge a premium for your service and say, yes, sir, I'm the best around, but I'm also the most expensive around, you could afford to take care of a customer if something like that happens that's not really your fault. You could look at it and go, you know what? It might screw up my month a little bit, but it's not going to put me out of business. And you could have a good name in the community. And that does not happen a lot now because business owners don't know what the fuck they're doing. That's why we're going to announce here pretty soon that we're going to do a consulting business to help body shops and repair shops, because I know how to run a repair shop. I have a Cybertruck and a Corvette.
Must be doing something, right?
Yeah, exactly. Making payments. No. All right. Thanks for having you guys coming on and having drinks with me and talking.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
All right, man. See ya.